Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Political Compass Test. This is a very, very shitty test that you should not take to actually figure out where you stand politically, but it is really, really fun. And honestly, if you understand, I would say I understand about 80% of the questions on here. I'm not like a huge economic dude, so I don't understand a lot of the economic questions like the first one. I understand what it means, but my answer could be completely wrong, and I have no idea why. But most of the questions I tend to understand, and I feel like I can answer them pretty well. And I think this will be a pretty good indicator of where I stand politically. So, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations. So, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve us as people rather than corporations. Um, I think people like Mitt Romney say stupid shit like corporations are people, which is just not fucking true. Corporations are not fucking people, bro. Don't ever let like somebody tell you that corporations are people, because it's just literally not true. They're run by people, but they're not people. Um, so I think I would rather definitely support humanity, but I think if they're going to support corporations that help out humanity, like, I don't know, stores and stuff like that, that's also not a bad thing. So I'm not going to say strongly agree, but I'll say agree. I'd support my country, whether right or wrong. Strongly disagree. I will support my country when it's right, and I will demonize my country when it's wrong. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I don't like the word foolish here. I don't think it's necessarily foolish. Uh, Useless maybe, but foolish, I don't know. I don't think it's some like white nationalist thing where I'm like, oh, I must support my country because I live in it. But I don't think it's stupid. I would love to be patriotic. There's just not a lot to be. There's not as much to be patriotic about nowadays. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine to support your country. Our race sorry. Our race has many superior qualities compared to other races. So this question is, are you racist? And I am not. So I'm going to say strongly disagree. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Disagree. It can be, but not really. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Uh, yeah, I'll say agree on that. I mean, I think international law can be important, but I think that sometimes, like, I'm sure. I actually don't know if this is true, so I don't know if I want to say that, but I know in World War II, international law was broken quite often, and I'm glad it was. There's a worrying fusion of entertainment and information and entertainment. Yeah, I'll say so. Like, I don't want my kids' cartoons to have political undertones or anything like that. I just want them to be kids' cartoons. But what political undertones are, I guess, matters to the person. Because, like, a cartoon could say, don't be racist, and people would be like, oh, this is left leaning. It's like, bro, if that's left leaning, then I hope all cartoons are left leaning. People are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Um. Mm, See, I was never divided by nationality, but I was divided by class growing up. And I've a bunch of family who's divided more by nationality, and I never in my life have I seen like actual brigades to kill homeless people. Like, there are obviously people who don't like homeless people. There's an entire war fought about like nationality, I guess. I guess there was more less nationality and more ethnic stuff, but like, man, I'll say It's either agree or disagree. I think they're maybe I'm wrong, but I think they're pretty even. Um, because I think a lot of times they go hand in hand, and I don't mean that in like a racist way. I mean that in like a lot of times you're dealt a shitty hand if you're anything other than white here in America. So like, of course it would go. Sorry, my lights are being weird. So of course it would kind of go hand in hand. I'll say agree, just because I don't understand the nationality side because I've never been divided by my nationality, but I have been divided by class, and that sucked. But that's only because I'm a white person. So if I had a different skin color, my answer would be completely different. I have no idea. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Strongly disagree. I think it's important, but unemployment is way more important than inflation. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulations. Strongly agree. From each according to his ability is each according to his need is fundamentally a good idea. See, here's the issue: is I'm not a communist / Marxist at all, but I kind of agree with this idea in a sense. But I know if I put agree, that shit's just gonna throw me into the communist left, which I wish there was a more moderate answer. Like yeah, I'll say disagree, but I do kind of agree. Freer the market, the freer the people. Yeah, I'll say agree. I'm not like a capitalist or anything, but I like free markets. They're pretty cool. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now bottled, branded as a consumer product. No, I disagree with that. I think it's a good thing. I think where it goes like really bad is whenever you're bottling water in those like $500 or like the glass bottles and selling them for $500. But on the other side of that, there are dumb people who buy it. So if they buy it, you should be able to sell it. Whatever. Land shouldn't be a commodity bought and sold. Oh, I'd strongly disagree with that. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to a society. Yeah, I'll agree. Strongly agree, actually. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Disagree. I'm not a huge fan of protectionism. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Strongly disagree. The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly agree. Don't they... The rich only pay a third of our taxes, and they're like way above a third in the tax bracket, I think. Those with the ability to pay should have higher access to standardized health care. No. Governments shouldn't penalize businesses that mislead the public. Shouldn't or should? Should. Strongly agree. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of a predator multinationals to create monopolies. Strongly agree. Monopolies suck. Abortion when a woman's life is not threatened should always be legal or illegal. Abortion. Okay. So this is difficult for me because I don't have. My position is I'm a 20 to 24 weeks guy. I think abortion is fine as long as there's no consciousness. But after that, I think bad. So I will probably disagree. Yeah, I'll say disagree. All authority should be questioned. Strongly agree. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Actually, I'm going to put agree on this one. I think there's some authorities that there's really no reason to question them. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't know. This one's a hard one, actually. I'll say strongly agree for now. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Disagree. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters and museums that cannot survive off of a commercial basis. Disagree. Schools should make classroom attendance compulsory. Agree. All people have their rights, but it's better if all of us that of different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Strongly disagree. Go date whoever you want. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Well, the data says no, so I'm going to go strongly disagree because unlike, some parents, I would look at data. It's natural for children to keep secrets from their parents. Strongly agree, and I think that's a good thing. Sometimes parents overreact and go fucking berserk over stuff their children do, and that's not always great. Processing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Should not. I'll say agree. I think We need education on marijuana if we're gonna make it federally legal. The prime function of schooling should be equip the future generation to find their jobs. Disagree. I think it should also teach them how to be a really good person. And maybe I'll say agree because it's an important part of it, but I think there's more to it. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll say fuck. Because, like, somebody with Down syndrome isn't, like, a bad person, obviously. So, like, that's fine. But, like, if you're giving your kid a disability that will kill them early, I don't know. I don't know what kind of inheritable disabilities people can have. I'll say disagree because I don't know much about the subject. I'll do some more research on this. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Strongly disagree. There's no savage or civilized people. There are only different cultures. Strongly disagree. I can name one group of people in the news right now that are savage. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Agree. When you are troubled, it is better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. It depends on who you are. This isn't a political question. I think this is a really dumb question and should be taken off the quiz. But I'll disagree. I think it's very important to think about some of the things that you have to fix or whatever to make that situation better. First generation immigrants can never be fully immigrated within their new country. Strongly disagree. What's good for the most successful corporations is always good for all of us. Strongly disagree. No broadcasting institution. Disagree. It can be, but most of the time it's not. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Disagree. Our civil liberties are being extremely curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Probably agree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all arguments that delay a process in the democratic political system. Strongly disagree. I hate one-party states. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Disagree. Death penalty should be an option for the most serious of crimes. Agree. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. Disagree. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Strongly disagree. Criminal justice punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Probably agree. It is a waste of time to try. No, I'll say disagree. I think rehabilitation is really, really important because it seems to be the most effective way. It's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate some criminals. That I do agree with. Never mind. People who are word people. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Who am I to say that? So I'll say disagree. Mothers may have a career, but their first duty is to be homemakers. Strongly disagree. They should be able to do it any way they want. Multinational companies. Actually, I'll say disagree on this one. I think women should obviously have the option to work and do whatever, but typically they do have more of a motherly nature. So if they're, I just think it would, if you have the motherly nature and you guys have kids and the father doesn't have a motherly, you know what I'm trying to say? I think a lot of times moms just do it a little bit better in terms of taking care of children. And that's just kind of true. And that, it's not always true, which is why I'm only saying disagree. But I think they should definitely have careers as well and should be able to put their careers first before being a homemaker. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resource of developing countries. Strongly agree. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. No, I think that's just, I think that's just being a loser. Fuck. I'm pretty pro-establishment, though. Don't get me wrong. I like the establishment. I just don't, I don't think it's mature to like your establishment, right? I think it's just whether you like your establishment or not. It doesn't mean anything about maturity. Astrology accurately explains many things. Strongly disagree. I'm sorry. You cannot be moral without being religious. Strongly disagree. I'm not religious and I think I'm pretty moral. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. Disagree, but it is really good. I like charities. Some people are naturally unlucky. Agree. It is important for my child's school to instill religious values. Strongly disagree. I hope my kid's school never does that. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. Disagree. I think it can be, but I don't think it is. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Agree. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Agree. All right, let's see where I libertarian left. Woo! So I am close to the center. I used to be down here. If that's any context. I don't know if I have a screenshot anywhere of where I used to be. But yeah, I think this is a pretty decent place to be. I think cuz like down here is like socialist, right? And then up here is like commie, lefty, tanky area. This is like still some of these people are hardcore capitalists, some are just like I don't like any of the systems, which is mostly me. And then these two are definitely capitalist. So China, North Korea, yeah, commie, tanky shit, like I said. Saudi Arabia, Switzerland. This is the economic scale. So economically, I am okay. So yeah, I'm pretty okay. It's not bad. Wait. I thought there was another thing that showed like people. Did they take that out because of how stupid it was? I think they took it out. That's funny. There used to be a thing that showed like people who, and it had like Rand Paul. Maybe, and then Hitler was up here, which I think Hitler would be a little further right. But yeah, that's pretty fun, guys.